This looked like it was going to be another one of those games where the Brewers were going to find a way to lose because they weren't getting any offense. They were stranding guys late in the game, and they got another terrific pitching performance, not only from the starter, but their bullpen. But they win. Huge victory over one of the best teams in the American League. We'll get to that. And what also happened 40 years ago today in Brewer history. It wasn't a good thing. All that and more coming up in the next half hour of Lockdown Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And the Brewers were able to score a 4-3 win over the Baltimore Orioles to start off this homestand. They got 12 of 14 coming up at home, and they had one of the best teams in the American League, the Orioles, who were 15 games over the 500 mark at the time, come in. And the Brewers were able to get the job done. Freddie Peralta and that bullpen, the headliners, I think, in this one. Peralta, 9 strikeouts over the first 5 innings, ran into the high pitch count. Nonetheless, the bullpen was able to take over. And late in the game, the Brewers were able to win the battle of bullpens and win this game. But, man, that Batista for the Orioles, God, can that guy throw heat? Geez, stay away from him. But it was the young guys who help carry this team through. And it was like that way early in the season. You had Joey Wiemer and Bryce Terang early in the season when it was cold outside and all that. And, you know, a lot of you were watching every play on every inning. You know, that's how it is in Wisconsin. Now, sometimes we get away from it a little bit because it's nice weather like tonight and in the last several weeks. But early in the season, when it's cold out, you can't go outside. You don't want to go outside. Yeah, we're watching every inning of Brewer baseball. Not that some of you aren't yet, but I'm just telling you, that's just the way it goes. But early in the season, Bryce Terang, Joey Wiemer, the freshman, they took that's kind of the city by storm. You know, they became household names. People love these guys, and they were doing such good things. And the Brewers were off to that great start. And then reality kind of hit in. You know, Major League Pitching began to adjust to them. They didn't adjust, and their batting average has slowly sunk below 200. But they arrived again on Tuesday night. Wiemer with an RBI base hit in the bottom of the 10th inning to win this game. And we've been telling you about how hard he's been hitting the ball as of late. Made a great play in center field defensively as well. Took probably a double or a triple away from Aaron Hicks that would have scored 2 runs. Hicks, who homered early in the game and continues to be just an amazing pickup for the Orioles. But Wiemer, that was the story right there. RBI single and his defensive play. You know, he got the mullet a couple of days ago in Cincinnati. And yeah, it was great to see the Brewers win a game like that. I believe that's their 3rd walk-off win of the season. But I feel like it's been a while since that's happened. Been a while since we've had emotions like that with the Milwaukee Brewers. Going out there and pulling out a late inning victory like they were doing early in the season. Going the extra innings, pulling out late inning victories, you know, Seattle, and we went that West Coast road trip, and it was just so fun. But yeah, but it looked like one of those games that they weren't going to win. Bryce Terang snapped out of his 0 for 21 slump. He had a couple of knocks, got on base with a walk as well. So that was, and of course, the 8th inning, his RBI single tied the game when the Brewers were down 3-2. He had an RBI single, tied the game at 3. And the Brewers are now back in first place because the Pittsburgh Pirates had their 6-game winning streak, I believe it was a 6-game winning streak, ended by Oakland on Tuesday night. So very cool. Brewers win. Peralta, again, the 9 Ks over 5 innings, ran into a little bit of a high pitch count there. But when we're getting to the late innings of this game, now this is something I brought out early in the season during that Seattle series when they're out on the West Coast. I said, do you bring your closer in a tie game in the 9th inning, knowing that in the 10th inning you have a runner on second base, and you just you have to be absolutely locked down? Well, in this case, it worked out for the Brewers. You know, it has. Williams came out in the 9th inning, pitched a scoreless inning, and Strzelecki, with that man at second base in the 10th inning, got out of it. And the Orioles used up their closer in the 9th inning. The Brewers weren't touching Batista. Now, the Orioles would have probably liked to have Batista pitch the bottom half of the 10th inning, but you got to get through the 9th to get to the 10th. I get that. I'm told that. I know. But a part of me says, man, wouldn't you just rather roll Strzelecki or your setup guy up in the 9th inning, try to get by, and then if you get to the 10th, and the way the Brewers are scoring runs, they wouldn't think they weren't going to win this one at the bottom of the 9th inning. That you try to scratch out that base hit, that game winner with a runner on second, because Williams is going to come in with a man at second base at the top of the 10th inning, and you'd rather have him in that situation than anybody else in that bullpen. No disrespect to anybody, but you'd rather have Devin come in that situation. But managers are never going to play it out that way. Somebody might somewhere down the line, because you know what? They're not going to do that. They're not going to play that role. What's going to happen there is, you'll bring in Strzelecki or somebody else in the 9th inning. In this case, Strzelecki, he's the setup guy, and he gives them a run. You'd be thinking, and you'd be saying, and going to counsel, Greg, why didn't you not bring in Devin Williams? That's what the book says. Okay. It worked out this time, but that's just a little theory I like. Maybe bring your setup man in a close game at the top of the 9th inning at home, and then saving Williams if you go to 10 with that runner at second base. Just some food for thought. And I know I'm going to get drilled on that, but that's fine. The strikeouts, amazing on both teams. 16 strikeouts on each team. With the Brewers, they're a high strikeout team. Brewer pitching got the job done, and so the Oriole pitching, but man, the Brewers 16 Ks. Aaron Hicks. I toyed with this idea of the Brewers picking up Hicks, but I knew they weren't going to go there. I just knew they were going to go there. And Hicks looking like a nice pickup for the Orioles right now. All right, so the Brewers take the opener of their series with Baltimore. They got Corbin Burns coming up on Wednesday night in game 2 of this series. We're going to get into that coming up here a little bit. Some other Brewers news, and one of their top prospects, their top pitching prospect, The Miz, he gets promoted to Appleton. We'll talk about that. A fast riser, guy with the big strikeout numbers, and a few other injury notes as well. Good to see Urias back in the lineup again tonight. Good to see him back. That was cool. So we got all these things to get to. We're going to get to what happened 40 years ago on this date in Brewer history. It was a sad day, and it didn't involve a win or loss. We'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. Locked On Brewers is brought to you by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want, or we react the way we do until we talk through things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who could take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. So if you think of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So that's a big bonus, because our busy schedules out there, we want something suited to our schedule and be able to do a few things. Yes, this is great for you. So you fill out that brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime at no additional charges. They have no problem with that. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB. And you get 10% off your first month when you mention Locked On MLB. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB. And you get 10% off your first month. Everydayers out there, thanks for by the way, I didn't even introduce, I've been doing that lately. I had not even introduced who I was, or where I'm from, or whatever, in case you're just joining us. I'm Chuck Friedman, the host of Locked On Brewers, longtime sports talk show host in Milwaukee, and currently it's morning sports anchor, 1310 WIBA in Madison, also a sports talk show host in Milwaukee as well. But I've been covering the Brewers for a long time, over 40 years for AP Radio, and been doing that. Love the Brewers. Grew up in Wisconsin, grew up in Milwaukee, and of course, I'm a Brewer fan. Why wouldn't I be? They're my number one favorite professional sports team, and I take it they're yours as well. You're following us along, and again, we're everywhere. If you listen to the audio version, download us on your favorite podcast platforms: Google, Spotify, Apple. I list them all on my Twitter account, Chuck Freeman, Freimund. Follow us along, please. Love interacting with you. I was interacting with some of you guys tonight. You guys are making some good points. On the bunt, I didn't even get to that. I'll get to that before I get to a few other things here coming up as well. But yeah, great to interact with you. And of course, follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube. Search Locked On MLB. Or sorry. Search Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers. And then hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell there. That's going to alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. The Brewers and Orioles play the second game of their series coming up on Wednesday night. And of course, you can catch every pitch of the Brewers' hometown broadcast, Sirius XM, the SXM app. Search Brewers. If you live where I live, might be a good thing to have Sirius XM, because I kind of live in a part of Wisconsin where I'm in between radio signals. And Sirius XM is a great thing to have. Get every game right there, the hometown broadcast, Sirius XM. All right, we'll come back and take care of some of the tweets. Talk to you about the Miz being promoted. I don't know if that's his nickname, but that's what I'm calling him. What happened 40 years ago, the pitching matchups coming up in a little bit. And some debate about bunting. All that and more coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Thanks for joining us here on your Tuesday night. For some reason, I'm losing track of what nights these are, because with the Brewers playing Cincinnati on a Monday night, you know they played a 4-game series. Usually it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and players just absolutely hated it when they got to stay that Sunday night and play a Monday night. So you play a Sunday afternoon game and a Monday night game like they did in Cincinnati this past weekend. The players absolutely just can't stand it. So when they played Monday night, I was thinking, okay, I'm still thinking, the Reds series, that was that Sunday night? Oh, that was Monday night. Okay. So the Brewers, rarely do they start a series on a Tuesday night unless they have an off day on a Monday. But there was no off day Monday. They were in Cincinnati, opened up Tuesday against the Orioles. Jesse Winker going to get a little workout in Nashville. So he's trying to work his way back. I know some of you are, we don't need, yes, we do need Jesse Winker. Need his bad. He provided some big offense early in the season, and I believe in the guy. I like his left-handed stick. Want to keep running him out there. I just want him to get healthy and get him back into this lineup. Yeah, I think they need him. I absolutely do want Jesse Winker back in this lineup. Willie Adames, the plan was Willie was going to go to Appleton and play for the Timber Rattlers one day. Well, initially he was going to work out with him, and then they played him last Sunday. And now he's going to go on the road trip to Western Michigan with them. So he's not going to Nashville. Likely will be back Thursday with the team. That's some good news. And they promoted Jacob Mizorowski. He's their top pitching prospect. 2nd round pick. Just an amazing fastball. Go to YouTube, not now, after this podcast, and watch this guy pitch. He's getting promoted from Class A Carolina. He's getting promoted up to the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, higher brand of Class A ball, and he'll pitch for them. And I believe he's going to pitch this week for the Timber Rattlers as well. So real cool. Jacob Mizorowski gets promoted, and he'll be on the Timber Rattlers this week. Let's get to the box scores and some of your tweets. I want to talk to some of your tweets because it seemed like people were very passionate on Facebook today. B-Dub writes, relax, Chuck, with a smiley face. Okay. I put down, Perkins can't lay the bunt down. Terrible asking AAA guys to do major league work. I don't understand how Perkins can't lay the bunt down, or anybody for that matter can't lay the bunt down. And I love the move at that point. Runner on second. This is the bottom of the 10th inning. Bottom of the 10th inning, you got that courtesy runner on second base. Perkins comes up, and I don't know why teams don't do this more often. I'd be doing this every time if I was a manager. Get the guy over to third base. Now, if you start a runner at first base, I can understand. No, okay, you need 3 singles, 3 base hits, basically, probably to win the game there. But you start with a runner on second base. Get that runner over to third. Get him over to third with 1 out, and take your chances that a batted ball is going to get that runner in. I love that strategy. And the Brewers are running more tonight, like they were early in the season. I love that too. Get these guys on the base pass, run. Terang was stealing base. Now, the Brewers had the leadoff guy in the 7th and 8th inning. I couldn't get him in. But still, they were doing things on the base paths to try to at least get guys in, knowing that, hey, 3 hits, the string 3 hits together for the Brewers these days is tough to do. 3 hits in 1 inning. You wouldn't think it'd be that difficult. But for this team, it is. So, yeah, they were running, stealing bases. But Perkins couldn't get the bunt down. And I'm like, oh, man, how? And especially at home, you got to make that play, get that bunt down, get him over to third. Now, thankfully, Joey Wiemer saved the day by lining a base hit down the left field line. Would have been a double otherwise. I didn't see the official score, but I assume he just stopped at first base. I know they were tearing his jersey off after the game. But, it was great to see the Brewers get back on track. Win a low-scoring game, 4-3. Again, offense was at a premium for these guys. A lot of people like my tweet, Bautista. How can anybody touch him? Unreal. Going to the 10th, the best bullpen guys in the 9th. Yeah, both teams use their best bullpen. I talked about this already. But Bautista for the Orioles. Wow. 102, he was lighting it up. Ain't nobody touching him. Guy writes, Wiemer, how about that kid? You bet tonight he sure turned it back. And he's been climbing that batting average too. Tyler says, you wanted them to bunt, didn't you? I don't know what exactly he's referring to, but yes, I wanted them to bunt in the 10th inning. I wanted them bunt early in the game too when they got the leadoff man at first and nobody out. Get him the second because, again, I'll take 2 base hits in an inning to win a game. 3 base hits, a little difficult for the Milwaukee Brewers. Ian says that Bautista dude is nasty. Dude didn't even break a sweat. He was 6'8", like 280 coming at you downhill. Wow. Sam writes, the lack of clutch hitting is frustrating. I hear you, Sam. We know that. Go Pack Go says, I put out a tweet. Can we get a little rally going for change instead of being so bland offensively night after night? Go Pack Go says, hell yeah, right. Yeah. I do get frustrated like we do. I mean, every night it's just like, stranding guys are bored on base, swinging, striking out, just doing things that you would think that they shouldn't be doing as much, like striking out. 16 Ks tonight. That's just too much. Brett says, struggling offense, but you want to bunt and give away an out. You answered your own question. Why doesn't he do it? Well, I talked about that, Brett. I said, I think because 3 singles in an inning is too much to ask for this team. That's why I laid down a bunt after getting the leadoff guy aboard in the first. And, it only takes 1 base hit basically to get him in from second base in the 10th inning. But I was talking about the tweet you're referring to is when they got the leadoff man aboard in the 8th inning. He couldn't score him again, or the 7th inning. That's pretty much it. A lot of you guys, what happened 40 years ago today? I'll get to that. All right. Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And Birddogs. I don't know if you've heard me talking about these guys before, but Birddogs, these golf pants are incredible. I was out there tonight. It was, I had a little golf before the Brewer game today. Was out there in league. Shot a 43, couple of double bogeys, just terrible. So anyway, I had the Birddog pants on tonight because temperatures were like in the upper 60s, low 70s from where I was golfing. And, it was a pants night. It gets like that. You get a little wind blowing in from the east off the lake there. It was a pants night in southeastern Wisconsin. And I was using my Birddogs. Birddogs give me the freedom to wear these pants on the golf course because they are stretchy, they are snug. And when you're out there golfing, you want something snug, you want something that's fit. You don't want loose clothes out there. That's the way I feel. But these Birddog pants, you can wear them hanging out with friends, going out for a fish fry, going out a date. You wear them at work, business casual or whatever. Their fabric is so comfortable. Go to birddogs.com, Locked On MLB, and when you enter the promo code Locked On MLB, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. Birddogs.com, Locked On MLB. They'll throw in that Yeti, but more so, just go to the site and check out all the wonderful clothes. They got 2 pairs of shorts as well. Very, very comfortable. But today was not a short stay in Wisconsin. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you, everydayers, for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day. When I go like this, on video, when you're watching me on YouTube, checking to see how much time we are, so I don't go over our time limit. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen to every day on YouTube, downloading us overnight on your various platforms. Set your notifications so when you get up in the morning, it's there. And when you're going to work or you're driving around or picking up that you're with that extra person in the car that maybe you don't want to have a conversation with, say, I want to listen to this Locked On Brewers. This Freeman, I want to see what happened and what his commentary is on the game. Appreciate all you guys out there. And of course, many who follow us on YouTube, search Locked On Brewers on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. That bell will put you in business. Locked On Brewers. The Brewers and Orioles, 6:40 coming up on Wednesday night. Catch every pitch of the Brewers hometown broadcast, Sirius XM, the SXM app, search Brewers. The starters for Wednesday's game. Dean Kramer makes the start for the Orioles. Not really a strikeout pitcher. Right-hander, thankfully. About 4 or 5 pitches at his repertoire. Got to win his last time out. Went 6 innings. He did strike out 6. He had a very bad month of April. He had an ERA in the mid-6s, 6.67 ERA. Doesn't have a lot of velocity on his pitches, but he's one of those crafty guys. 6-2, though, on the season. So he's doing something right. Our man is Corbin Burns. Got a no decision his last time out, 6 innings. The Brewers did get the win in his outing, but he got tossed. He was already at 100 pitches anyway, but he got tossed. He was getting squeezed by the home plate umpire, and he knew he was going to get tossed. He knew he was out of the game, so he's walking out. He got his money's worth. So that's, if there's any time for a guy like Burns to get tossed out of the game, it's right when you know you're coming out of the game. But 6 innings, no decision last Friday, 7 Ks against Cincinnati. So those are your pitching matchups for Wednesday in game 2 against the Orioles. So what happened 40 years ago today? 40 years ago today was a dark day in Brewer history because Gorman Thomas, Brewers legend, was traded. Number 20. Fans fell in love with Gorman Thomas, blue-collar Milwaukee. The Brewers started to win from 1970 to 1977. They were terrible. Started to win. Gorman Thomas was playing center field. Okay, if you looked at Gorman playing center field, go to YouTube, you say, he played center field? Yes, Gorman played center field and did it well. Was he a speedster? No, but he could sure track down balls, put his body on the line, and he was great. But more importantly, fans loved him because he hit the home run ball. 1979, he hit 45 home runs to lead the American League, and he was, a key part of this team going to the World Series. Now, he struck out a lot. He hit a lot of home runs, and he was traded after the Brewers went to the World Series in 82, and Gorman struck out in the final at-bat of the 82 World Series, but that's not why he got traded. They traded him in June. The trading deadline used to be mid-June. And they traded him to the Cleveland Indians. They traded him to the Cleveland Indians for Rick Manning. And there was an uproar. I mean, you talk about an uproar. There has never been an uproar in this city. Maybe other than the fact when Ray Allen was traded. But for a Brewer, there was no more of a uproar when the Brewers traded Gorman Thomas in 1983. Fans were upset. Here was a guy who was very productive for them, home run hitter, and the fans loved Gorman Thomas. Sure, there was Yount, Molitor, Simmons, Fingers, but he was probably the most popular player on the team. And he was gut-wrenched that he got traded from the Brewers. And the Brewers were beginning their decline. Yeah, they hung around the pennant race in 83, and then in September, they just fell completely out. But 40 years ago today, the Brewers traded Gorman Thomas to the Cleveland Indians for Rick Manning, serviceable, real good center fielder, okay? I don't know if Rick really wanted to be here anyway. Manning's now a broadcaster back with Cleveland, and they're the Cleveland Indians at the time. They're the Guardians now, obviously. But yeah, that was happening 40 years ago today. And Rick Waite's nice guy, starter, reliever, he got thrown in by Cleveland on that deal as well. So that's what happened 40 years ago today. Gorman was traded. That's going to do it for today. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for all you everydayers out there. And of course, listen to the broadcast tomorrow. Can't tune it in on TV if you're driving around in our great state or wherever you are in our country. Sirius XM, the SXM app, search Brewers and Orioles, 6:40 on Wednesday night after the Brewers scored a 10-inning 4-3 win over the Orioles. It's going to do it for the show today. I'm Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers. On the Locked On Podcast Network, we are your team every day. Talk to you tomorrow night, everybody.